Unconditional Love. The small town of Ridgewood was quiet, and its simplicity made it easy to blend in, to disappear if you wanted to. And that's how Liam felt. He didn't want to stand out. He just wanted to live his life, but there was a storm brewing in his chest that he couldn't ignore anymore. He was 17, and for the first time, he allowed himself to accept something about himself that had haunted him for years. He was gay. Liam's mom, Emily, had always been his safe haven. She was the one who listened to him vent after a rough day at school. She was the one who comforted him when the weight of being different felt unbearable. She didn't see him as anything other than her son, a part of her heart that she would love unconditionally. But Liam's father, Gary, was another story. He was a man who believed in conformity, who believed that things were right and wrong, according to a narrow definition. One evening, Liam gathered the courage to tell his parents the truth. He waited until Gary was home from work, his hands shaking as he set the table for dinner. Emily noticed the tension in his posture, the way his eyes darted to her and then away, as if trying to find the right words. "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something," Liam said, his voice barely a whisper. Gary looked up from his plate, his brow furrowing, and for a moment, Emily felt her stomach twist. She had always known, had always hoped that one day Liam would come to her with this truth. "I'm gay," Liam said, the words tumbling out in a rush, as though they were escaping him before he could take them back. There was a long silence. Emily's heart ached, but she reached out and put a hand on his, squeezing it gently. She had already made peace with this moment in her heart, and now she just wanted to make sure her son knew that nothing would change. But Gary's expression twisted with anger. "What the hell did you just say?" His voice was low, menacing. Liam's heart dropped. "Dad, please, You're what?" Gary stood up so suddenly that his chair clattered to the floor. "No son of mine is going to be some freak." His voice shook with rage. "Gary, stop," Emily said, standing up as well. She could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. "He's our son, and I love him. I accept him for who he is." Gary's face turned red, his fists clenching at his sides. "You're pathetic if you think that's acceptable. This isn't how I raised him." He stormed towards Liam, his voice becoming a low growl. "You're a disgrace." Liam shrank back, the weight of his father's words hitting him harder than any physical blow. He couldn't breathe. He looked to his mother, but her eyes were already filled with tears, and he knew she wasn't going to stand by and let Gary tear him down. "Gary, I can't live like this anymore," Emily said, her voice steady, but her hands trembling. "I can't live with someone who doesn't love our son for who he is. He's my son, and I will always love him no matter what." Gary's face contorted in disbelief. "You're choosing him over me? Over your own husband?" "I'm choosing love, Gary. I'm choosing to support my son." Emily's voice wavered only for a moment, but the conviction in her words was clear. She stepped toward Liam, wrapping him in her arms, and for the first time in a long while, he felt safe. Gary slammed his fist against the wall, his anger bubbling over. "You're making a mistake," he spat. "I won't have my son turn out like this. I won't." "I'm not making a mistake," Emily said firmly. "I'm doing what's right. I will not be with someone who can't accept our son, someone who doesn't see the value in unconditional love." Gary stormed out of the room, his footsteps heavy on the hardwood floors as he left the house in a fury. Emily pulled Liam closer, kissing the top of his head. Tears ran down her cheeks, but they were tears of relief, of clarity. She had chosen him, her son, above everything else. The next few weeks were the hardest Emily had ever faced. Gary moved out, but the emotional scars from the years of marriage were still fresh. Liam, still raw from the confrontation, spent his nights with his mother, talking, healing. He had never realized how much weight he had been carrying, how much fear of rejection had shaped him. But with Emily's love, he felt like he could breathe again. Months later, Liam stood with his mother in front of their house, a few boxes packed and ready to go. She had filed for divorce, and though it was hard, Emily knew it was for the best. She wanted Liam to know that there was no place for hate in their home, no place for shame. There was only love, Pure, unconditional love. Liam hugged his mother tightly, a tear slipping down his cheek. Mom, I don't know what I would have done without you. Emily kissed his forehead. You never have to worry about that. I'll always be here for you, no matter what. You're my son, and you are perfect just the way you are. The car pulled away, and as the house grew smaller in the rearview mirror, Liam realized that while the journey ahead would have its struggles, he had one thing that would carry him through: his mother's love. And that, in the end, was all that mattered.